15-minute ride. We're starting out at 6,500 feet in elevation. By the time we get to the top, it'll be about 10,300. So it's just under a 4,000 foot incline. We are about to leave the Albuquerque city limits and enter Cibola National Forest for the rest of the trip. No, it doesn't look too much like a forest right now, but I promise you guys it does get more wooded the farther up we go. From now on, we'll be going about 13 miles an hour until we get to our towers, where we will slow down a little bit. If you guys have any questions or concerns on the way up, please feel free to let me know, and I'll answer as best I can, or I can make something up to help you feel better. By show of hands, how many first-time tram riders do I have in here today? Okay, a few. What about out-of-towners? Okay, awesome. All right, well, if those of you guys who are out of town or riding it for the first time, if you guys need anything, if you guys need any questions answered, anything I can do to reassure you guys, please just let me know.
How old is it?
So the tram was originally built back in 1964 and completed in 1966. Oh yeah.
Get up.
All right, everybody, we are approaching our first tower. So just a heads up, guys, there will be some swing and sway as we pass the tower. So just grab onto something, bend your knees a little bit to prepare yourself, or you can throw your hands in the air if that sounds fun. There will be a pretty good tip forward. Oh, very cool. That is beautiful. Oh, yeah. So from the very top, you can see 11,000 square miles.
Wow.
All right, everybody, if you want to look out kind of the front right side, you might see this big oval rock standing on its own. Some people can see some facial features on the left side, like an eye and a mouth with a fin through the middle. So we didn't get super creative, and we just call that one Fish Rock. But to give you guys a little bit of perspective, Fish Rock is actually about 2 stories tall. So now kind of down where we are here, you'll see more of the basic stuff that we see in the city as well. So like squirrels, chipmunks, snakes of all kinds, bunch of different bugs, lots of different species of birds, raccoons occasionally. The farther up we get, we have mule deer, black bears, which are the only species of bear on the mountain. And then we have 2 species of big cats, so we have bobcats and mountain lions as well. All right, everybody, passing us here on our right in just a second, you might see this big pile of gray rubble. It all kind of looks like it cracked off that rock right above it there. That is our critical point. That's what we call it. It's the only point on our entire path here where they use dynamite to clear the way when building the tram. I like to point that out to people just because it lets you guys know that everything you'll see other than that one small area are completely natural formations up here, even as interesting as some of the rocks do look. So those red things that you'll see occasionally, those are our slack carriers. So they serve a few different purposes. So one is obviously, as the name implies, to pick up the slack. So you can kind of see between each red thing, the middle line dips down a little bit. So the first job is to pick up the slack in that line and kind of bring it back upwards. Another job that it has is you'll see that all 3 wires that we're connected to are clipped into different spots on each one of those red things. So it keeps those from tangling. And then you'll also see 2 little wheels that run through there. And those are just kind of basically like checkpoints to keep that line moving. The idea is that, like, technically in a perfect world with no weather, you could operate the tram without the slat carriers. But of course we get wind and things like that, so we gotta make sure that those lines don't stay tangled. All right, everybody, we are gonna come up on our second tower here in just a second. So another reminder, there will be some swing and sway. But in the meantime, I'm gonna ask you guys to do something very important for me. I'm gonna ask you to cross your fingers real tight and hope really, really hard that we make it over those rocks up there. We've made it every time so far, but you can never be too sure. All right, guys, we are about to pass over our second tower here in just a second. All right, everybody, we are going to pass our other tram car on the right side here in just a few seconds, so you can give whoever's in there a wave. There will be a lot less people in there than there are in here. As we pass this other tram car, it will mark the halfway point in the trip so far, meaning that we have about 7.5 minutes left in here. Also means that right now we're hovering over the first of 3 canyons that we'll see on the trip. The one underneath us right now has the incredibly descriptive and creative name of Big Canyon. You guys will also feel the tram car slow down just a little bit here. That is because our other tram car is now approaching Tower 2, going back the other way. So the way our tram works is kind of like an old-fashioned clothesline. It's essentially one constant push and pull between the 2 lines. And that means that when we slow down, they slow down. So when we were going over our towers, they were slowing down out here. And now that they're slowing down to go over their tower, we are slowing down now. So if you guys are curious, you'll be able to look out the back and see that as that other cabin passes Tower 2 and drops on the other side, we'll speed right back up.
So if a cable breaks, everybody dies.
I prefer you don't say that. Actually, so essentially, if either one of those cables breaks except the middle one, we would be okay technically because we're clipped into that middle one. And we're not just riding on top of the wheels of the middle one. We would get a really aggressive swing one way though, and then we'd be hanging here for a while. I am, yeah, I'm lucky. My parents live kind of closer to the tram up here, but yeah. All right, everybody, we are now passing over the second of those 3 canyons we'll see. The one underneath us now is called Echo Canyon. Echo Canyon is pretty easy to spot because it's got that line of really green trees that runs through it. The reason those trees grow so green is because there is a small stream that runs down Echo Canyon year-round. That year-round access to water is what allows those trees to grow so lush. And they grow pretty tall as well. So some of the taller trees that you'll see deep in Echo Canyon are over 100 feet tall. Right now, it's hard to say. It fluctuates, obviously, because of all the hills. Right now, I would say probably about 750 feet off the ground.
Which is a lot taller than 150 tall tree.
Right now, I think we're full. We're at 45 in here.
There's 45 people in the car right now. It's a pretty big bus. Me too. I wish I was
everybody, we are about to pass over the third and final canyon that we'll see. The one underneath us now is called Domingo Baca Canyon, named after an old Spanish explorer. If I've got any locals in here, you might recognize that name. There are a few things around Albuquerque named after him. Also, if those of you on the left side of the cabin or the side opposite me want to look out those windows, if you follow the ridge line of the mountain out to that kind of top left point that you can see, right where the mountain meets the sky, you might be able to make out a small stone cabin or a little black window. It'll become clearer the higher up we go, but that is Kiwanis Cabin. Kiwanis Cabin was originally built back in 1936 by the CCC. It was used as shelter for both hikers and workers who were doing things on the backside of the mountain. And that's actually the third version of Kiwanis Cabin up there. The first versions of Kiwanis Cabin were both built out of wood. Unfortunately though, one was struck by lightning and burned down. The other was blown off the side of the mountain by some record high winds. But the third time around, they learned from their mistakes and built it out of limestone, and that is the one that remains today. It's basically a retelling of the Three Little Pigs. The Civil Conservation Corps.
Tell us about the composition of the rocks here.
So most of our mountain is made up of granite. You guys will see that a lot of our rocks around here kind of have that red tint to them. It's because there's a mineral called feldspar in a lot of the granite up here. That's an iron heavy material. And then as you get farther up, we do have limestone in the mountain as well, which is partially why they built that cabin out of limestone. But those are the two main minerals that make up our mountain. The large majority of our mountain is made of granite. Yeah, we're just getting higher up. And we'll start to get a little breeze. It gets a little windier up top. So we'll start to get a little bit of cross breeze.
And there was an uplift, that's why we had the Sandias. That's why limestone is on the backside.
Sorry? No, yeah, so we have an automatic mode, which that will be timing, and then we have a driver at the base as well if they want to take it into manual, and then they have like a meter that shows you exactly where the trams are, and it'll slow it down. All right, everybody, we are in the last couple minutes of our trip here, so I'll give you guys some info about what we have on top for you. So we do have the restaurant 10-3. 10-3 will open at 11 a.m. today. That's a great spot to grab a bite to eat. They've got some great drinks as well.
See how the rocks
We also have our upper terminal. Our upper terminal will have the vending machine, water, and restrooms for you guys. The upper terminal is also where you'll check in when you want to get on your tram down. So whenever you want to get off the mountain, just have your tickets ready, whether those be paper or electronic. We do appreciate screenshots of those electronic ones, but if you need to get on the internet, we do have Wi-Fi as well. Right now our trams are running about every 15 to 20 minutes, and our last tram off the mountain isn't until about 9 p.m. So you guys have plenty of time to spend up here today. We'll also have our red observation deck, which will be out and up to the left here. That gives you a really good view of Albuquerque. If you guys do want to hike up here today, grab one of our trail maps before you go. We've got some really beautiful hiking paths up here, so I promise there's no need to go off trail or anything like that. Most important thing I'll tell you guys today is to stay hydrated. Drink a lot of water, a lot more than you would normally, especially if you guys are visiting us from a lower elevation. Drinking a lot of water, eating some food if you can are the best things you can do for yourself after some quick elevation change. If you guys feel like woozy or sick or anything, we do have resources in the upper terminal to help you out. There might be some small bumps as we come into dock here, guys. So just grab onto something, or you can grab onto someone and drag them down with you. So, mostly helicopter. Yeah, it took over 5,000 helicopter trips to get this entire thing built. Yeah, many times. It's a pretty nice hike. It's only about an hour. It's about a mile there, a mile back, so about 2 hour round trip, and it's not super steep. Yeah. Here, give me 1 second. All right, guys. You see those rubber bumpers in front? When we get to those, there will be a pretty good jolt forward. So again, just grab onto something. That'll happen here in just a few seconds. Can't say I didn't warn you. Sorry, what were you asking?
I think it was the windsock.
How about the wet thing? The wet thing.
Yeah, so the big red thing is a big observation that we can go look at the view of Albuquerque. That smaller red thing that's flying around up there, that's our windsock.